know, if you watch the show regularly, then you know that Vic and I are going bananas for iPad apps these days. And lately, I started playing Bruce Lee Dragon Warrior on the iPad. This is another fighting game in the same vein as a sort of Street Fighter game. Only for some reason I find this one a little bit more palatable, a little bit more easier to pick up and play. The star of the game, obviously, Bruce Lee himself, the man, the myth, the legend, and all of the in-game animations, well, they're all mocapped, so everything looks very human, very alive, very organic. There's only a handful of different characters to choose from. You know, you can't expect the Tekken caliber, 40, 50, 60 characters in the game. You got an arcade mode, you have a survival, you have a time attack mode, a bunch of different modes to choose from. And you also have a fairly substantial story mode to work through with characters to unlock and new moves to unlock. You know, the super fast, the hyperactive fighting action that you typically expect in a fighting game, you're not going to necessarily find it here. I found this almost to be more of an adventure game, or almost like a platformer. The fighting action is satisfying, and some of the super moves, the finishing moves that you pull off at the end of fights, very gratifying to watch. Overall, I think I actually prefer this to Street Fighter IV on the iPhone. I think this is probably the best fighting game on the iPad at this point, but still early in the iPad's life cycle. I'm going to give Bruce Lee Dragon Warrior on the iPad a solid 8 out of 10.
So what is it, Jutkin Go?
I don't know. I only speak English and a little bit of French.
Okay. Well, that Bruce Lee game is cool. You're right. It's very cool.
Okay, let's go to something else.
Yeah, but let's go into the octagon now. We're going to leave the old school fighting for some new school fighting.
Ben and Jose are huge UFC fans. We've actually watched UFC in your kitchen.
Yes.
At Vic's house.
That's right. Here's UFC 2010 Tribute. Undisputed Tribute.
Ow, 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 ow. Break! Woo! That's right. Ben and I here. We're going to talk a little UFC Undisputed 2010. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
It's okay.
UFC Undisputed 2010 from THQ. The sequel, ironically enough, to the UFC Undisputed 2009 game.
Love how they do that.
That makes it so much easier. I can't believe there's been 2010 versions of this game.
It's a lot.
So what did you think of this Ultimate Fighting Championship game?
Well, you know, you're always a little scared when you see a sequel a year after a sports game comes out.
It's true.
EA has blown that one a few million times.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I'm impressed with THQ. I think they just made everything a little better. They added a couple modes and improved the gameplay.
You know, they set out to kill last year's game. I don't know if they actually kill it, but they definitely put it in a triangle chokehold and choke it out and submit it.
I think they submitted it. They changed all the animations. These are all new animations.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so seamless, moving from move to move, moving from stand-up to a clinch, and then a takedown. It just felt very fluid. It didn't feel like these animations were canned. There's like a million things that could go wrong with the animations, and I never really saw any clipping errors. Things didn't really get problematic for me.
I mean, you can tell that both UFC and THQ definitely love this property. It's just the little things, like now you can push somebody up against the cage, and your guy's kind of off balance because he's laying up against the cage, or they have like a sway system now, so you can kind of duck out.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, they definitely
that a lot.
They definitely made it a striker's game. I think this game is more of a striker's game than the last one. I found that the submission was a little difficult in this, particularly when you're playing the computer on anything but the first difficulty setting. Submitting guys is tricky.
Especially using a creative character.
They also added a lot of different new modes this year.
Yeah.
You've got title mode, which lets you kind of a short little career mode thing.
Yeah, you can get your path to earning your UFC title.
Right, and after you win it, you can defend that title in this new kind of, it's almost like a survival mode in a fighting game. And both of those are pretty cool. You've also got event mode, which lets you sort of build your own UFC.
You can be Dana White, pick your own map. What do I want to
put up your own fight. And I like that when you do event mode, and they also have this in the career mode, which we'll talk about in a minute, it's amazing how much they made it look exactly like a TV presentation. I was impressed by that.
Huge fan.
And then, really where a lot of the revamping happened is in the career mode. They made some pretty big changes, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's hard. It's a lot of sort of meter management in that career mode where you're like, okay, do I train up my main strength or speed or cardio attributes, or do I go in and train my striking or my grappling?
Submissions.
There's a lot of like strategic decisions you have to make, especially as you go and you start fighting tougher and tougher guys who might have certain expertise in certain fields.
You have ring names, so you can come out as Joe the King Sanchez. No Jose, though?
Next year, download maybe?
No Jose?
No
Come
Jose.
on, it's only one of the most popular Hispanic names ever.
So what are you going to give UFC 2010?
I love me some UFC 2010. I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10.
That's crazy. I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5? What?
Ow,
what are you going to give it, Ben? What are you going to give it?
I'm going to get an 8.5.
What? What was that?
9 out of 10.
There you go. That works.
Get some ice, mentholate them. Ice.
Wait, can we roll back some of that footage? Okay, and then zoom in on Jose, zoom in on Fubar's smile, a little bit more. That's a happy man. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, boys and girls.
And women and men.
And those of you who aren't sure if you're a woman or a man, we're talking about kart racing now on the PS3.
That's
Victor
right.
Lucas, is that possible?
It's possible, and it's nice to see Sony kind of stepping up and challenging the Mario Kart behemoth.
And it's nice to see a game come out of Vancouver, which is where this was made. This is ModNation Racers from United Front Games.
Man, I gotta say, I love these strolls by the beach with you, talking about video games.
You know, when you read my personal ad, it did say I do enjoy long walks on the beach.
Talking about ModNation Racers, and where are we, Scott Jones?
Vancouver, British Columbia.
This is where the game was made.
The game was made here.
Yes.
We saw a little bit of the game as it was being made.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, do your thing.
Yeah, full disclosure, we did the behind the scenes. We worked with Sony and United Front Games, and we made a making of ModNation Racers. So I've been aware about this game for quite a while.
It's
and
cute.
I've seen it in different stages.
Kart racing.
Man, I'm impressed with what the team has put together. And
I was really impressed from the first moment that it loads up. There's a fairly substantial install at the start. I mean,
Yes.
it's probably in a minute or two just to get the game loading some of the assets onto the hard drive.
Yep.
But once it starts up, you know, the music is catchy, the aesthetic, you feel like you're seeing something unique and special.
yeah, that's kind of a pretty big success for these guys as well, because they aren't trading on familiar characters and creations that we've seen before. They went with this whole urban vinyl culture.
No matter what you do to customize your character or your kart, you're still playing as a character named Tag, and he's a scrappy up-and-coming racer. I was surprised that there was so much of a robust single-player campaign here. I really didn't expect that.
Yeah, I mean, the story with this game, obviously, is that you can build your own karts, you can build your own characters, you can build your own tracks, and that's unbelievable.
I've struggled a little bit with some of the Guitar Hero 5 Music Studio.
Yeah.
Struggled a little bit with Little Big Planet.
For sure.
Struggled a little bit with WarioWare DIY.
Yep.
These tools are typically obtuse, difficult to pick up. You have to commit so much time and energy to get anything out of these experiences, but that's different here.
They have layers and layers of menus. You can go crazy with the paints, go crazy with the layers. You can add all kinds of stickers and decals onto your characters so that you can make them look virtually like anything that you want. I mean, you're already starting to see Spider-Mans and Supermans and Mario.
We were playing this online, and I could hear him scrolling through characters going, oh my God, there's an Astro Boy, and he looks awesome. So we get online, he gets a Spider-Man, and he puts him in a train.
Yeah.
You were driving him very well.
And it was incredible, right? I actually was very impressed with the physical handling of the vehicles.
They really fixed the drift mechanic.
They really did.
Like, it just feels right. It has that key and a lock kind of feel when you go into a drift, and you can just feel yourself carving out the points.
And the coolest thing about all of this is that the developers use the same exact tools that they give you to customize with to build everything.
If you see a track in the game that looks incredibly complicated, you can actually build that track. So this sounds like a rave so far, but you know what? There are a couple knocks against this game. It's not perfect. Number one, the load times are egregiously long.
Yes.
And number two, I feel like the karts are a little jumpy. I don't know if there's an option for tweaking the controls.
There is a little bit. There's a little play there, but I think they could have gone deeper with that. I think they could have given you a little more variety in the handling. There should have been physical properties attached to the scope and size. Like if you make your car bigger with all the stuff that you attach to it,
should be heavier.
It should feel different.
It's not perfect, but there's just so much there to play with, so much to do. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 9 as well. Awesome game.